Hi, I'm D. Randy Riggs. I'm editor-in-chief of Vintage Motorsport magazine. I'm here to tell you about our new September-October issue, which just rolled off the presses and is in the mail to subscribers and on to Barnes & Noble bookstores nationwide for their newsstands. The new issue has none other than the King, Richard Petty's favorite race car on the cover, 1971-72 STP Dodge Charger. He tells why this particular Charger model works so well on so many different NASCAR tracks, including short tracks, intermediate tracks, and even super speedways, with a simple spoiler adjustment and not much else. And we also tell the story of how this STP Charger was discovered and how the 50-50 STP red and Petty blue paint scheme was born. Quite a story there. NBC Sports Motorsport commentator Paul Tracy tells us about his favorite race, which was the 1993 Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. But the week prior to that race, Tracy was involved in a big crash in a kart. It was an impromptu race with friends, and he got banged up pretty well, but of course wanted to keep it a secret from the captain, Roger Penske. Despite being sore and banged up and bruised, he won the GP at Long Beach. But the fun part of the story is Roger Penske's reaction after the race when he was congratulating Tracy in the winner's circle. Our Great Vintage Garage series, this time we visit the Turner Woodward collection, and it's housed in the only former automobile factory left fully intact in the entire country, near downtown Indianapolis, and where all Stutz automobiles were built. It's a beautiful collection in an amazing setting. You won't want to miss that. And in our Roadster series, Barn Find Hunter Tom Cotter samples the ever-popular BMW 2002 TII, a car that created a cult following in its day, and that has not abated in 2020. It was a sports sedan that was desirable then and is desirable now. Could hold 4 people and their luggage, was great fun to drive, pretty economical, and the values on those cars today in the number 1 and number 2 condition are going through the roof. So Cotter tells us about how much fun this car is to drive, and the owner tells us about what it's like to live with. And then we have the racing success of the 8th generation Corvette, which has just come upon the scene. So we thought it would be great fun to gather together a representative of all 8 generations of Corvette race cars in a place where a lot of Corvette racing started, the Sebring International Raceway. And the author and motorsport photographer extraordinaire Richard Prince does the story. And just the organization of gathering those cars together for a photo shoot was a Herculean effort. And it came out beautiful. The photos are amazing, and it's a great story. Then we're happy to cover vintage racing events that finally got the wave of the green flag, including the huge WeatherTech International Challenge at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Certainly race fans love that circuit, and if you've never been, when you go, do not miss having a bratwurst. And then SVRA's fantastic Vintage Grand Prix at Mid-Ohio went off without a hitch and had a great entry and really good racing, and it was a successful weekend. And then CSRG's David Love vintage races at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California happened after being rescheduled. And again, a strong entry, good racing, and apparently a really fun weekend. So we're happy to see those races get the wave of the green. And of course we have our columns by none other than B.S. Levy, always an entertaining writer. Le Mans winner Jochen Mass, Pete Lyons, one of the great historians in our world, Jeff Allison, who does Back in the Day column, and always enjoy reading that myself. Fritz Frohmeyer visits the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum for every issue and uncovers the amazing treasures that are housed there. And I do my own column on whatever subject hits my mind. John L. Stein does Racing Across the Block, which is recent auction action. Most interesting was the fact that many auctions switched to online only during this period and were very, very successful, with even some records being set. So that's an interesting story. And of course, you can always visit vintagemotorsport.com for the latest auction news and vintage racing news. We appreciate you being here and being readers of the magazine, and we know you'll enjoy this next issue. Meanwhile, I'm on to the next one, November, December, but in the meantime, everybody stay healthy and keep the revs up.